Welcome back. When President Trump announced that the U.S. was pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord, he was keeping a promise he made during the campaign. And as you heard from John Kerry earlier, not everyone was happy that he did that. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt was with the president on Thursday when he made the announcement at the White House. And he joins me now. Mr. Administrator, welcome to Meet the Press.
Chuck, good morning.
So why did almost 200 other countries sign this agreement? And why do you think the United States should have gotten out of it?
I mean, engagement internationally on these issues, Chuck, is very, very important. And the United States has shown a history of engagement. As you know, back in the late 1990s, the administration entered into the Kyoto Protocol. And from 2000 to 2014, this country saw a reduction in CO2 emissions by over 18% through leadership, innovation, and technology. So having that kind of discussion internationally, we're a part of the UNFCCC that was a treaty ratified in 1992. So this goes back almost 2 decades.
The United States pulled out of Kyoto.
We did in 2001, but the framework in 1992, the UNFCCC, is something we're still a part of. So the discussions go back for more than 2 decades. So
are you advocating now that essentially, even though we've pulled out of the Paris Agreement, it's still going to govern some goals here?
Paris is a bad deal for this country, and the president made clear on Friday that we're going to have an America First strategy with respect to the environment and international agreements. But he also said, Chuck, that engagement, discussion, international discussion and dialogue around CO2 emissions is something we should continue. And Chuck, I think what's important here is that we're at pre-1994 levels today with respect to our CO2 footprint. And as I indicated, the time that we exited Kyoto in 2001, from 2000 to 2014, we reduced our emissions by over 18% in this country. So we've led the world.
So Kyoto was a success? I'm just sort of confused because we pulled out of Kyoto.
Kyoto didn't prompt the 18% reduction.
Okay.
It was American innovation and technology that prompted the reductions in CO2. That's where the focus should be as far as discussions.
There seemed to be an implication during your back and forth with the White House press corps that the rest of the world wanted the United States in it to slow down the United States. Do you believe that?
Oh, I think the Paris Agreement very much so put us at an economic disadvantage.
No, I understand that. Do you believe that was the intentional, that was the motivation?
I think the rest of the world applauded what we did in Paris. And we have to go back, Chuck.
But why did they applaud it?
Because it put us at an economic disadvantage. But I think also,
Do you think this is a global, you think that the globe, that these countries got together to slow down the United States economically?
Well, why did China and India not have to take any steps until 2030? Why did India condition their CO2 reductions upon receiving $2.5 trillion of aid in the agreement? We were going to take steps front-loading our costs while the rest of the world waited to reduce their CO2 footprint. That's the reason it put us at a very much an economic disadvantage internationally. But Chuck, here's the deal. We have led, as I've indicated, this effort since the year 2000 with the reductions in our CO2 footprint and are at pre-1994 levels today. Not because of government mandate largely, not because of Paris, not because of Kyoto, but because of American ingenuity and innovation.
But I am just struck. You truly believe, though, that many of these countries signed on to Paris and were trying to get the United States to sign on to it for economic reasons?
If you look at the criticism that was levied against Paris when it was signed in 2015, there was as much criticism on the environmental left as there was on the right of the
spectrum.
Some
thought it should have gone further.
And I'll tell you why. Because they were upset. In fact, the James Hansen, former NASA scientist, as you know, called Paris a fake and a fraud. The general counsel of the Sierra Club, contemporaneous to Paris being signed, said critical things of the agreement. The reason they said those things, Chuck, is because the rest of the world, China and India particularly, the largest polluters that we have on the planet, did not have to take any steps until after 2030, and the United States front-loaded their costs through things like the Clean Power Plan, other rules here domestically that contracted our economy. It's been estimated, as you know, it's been estimated by the Heritage Study that Paris alone would cause a contraction of $2.5 trillion of gross domestic product over 10 years.
That made up a lot of negative assumptions. That made you wanted to make assumptions that didn't anticipate job growth in other industries like solar, that the innovation would anticipate other job growth, and that would balance out. Here's what Al Gore said to me earlier when I interviewed him about this issue.
The loss of jobs in the coal industry started with the mechanization of the coal industry. Natural gas started displacing coal in the fossil fuel sector. And promising to recreate the 19th century is not a visionary strategy for a successful 21st century.
Is he right that you guys are making a false promise, though, to some of these fossil fuel industries?
Dead wrong, because the numbers show exactly the opposite. In fact, since the fourth quarter of last year till most recently, added almost 50,000 jobs in the coal sector. In the month of May alone, almost 7,000 jobs. And here's what's key about our power grid in this country. You have to have fuel diversity, Chuck. Because if we go to a all renewables, all natural gas type of approach, if there's an attack on the transportation network, there's only so much natural gas that can go into that power generation facility to generate electricity. We need solid hydrocarbons stored on site to draw down upon for peak demand and also threats to our grid. Fuel diversity, stability, consistency is key to the manufacturing base. It's also key, by the way, Chuck, to keeping costs low. Our price per kilowatt in this country is far less than what it is in Germany, far less what it is in Europe, and we need to keep that approach.
One other argument you made against this deal is that you thought, boy, it should have been ratified, it should have been debated in the public, it should have been sent to the United States Senate. You know who had the power to do that? Your administration had the power to do that. You could have changed the deal. You could have gone to the United States Senate and done what you said should have been done. Have a full-throated debate with the American people. You chose not to do that. Why?
The decision to not send it to the Senate was made by the former administration.
I understand that, but you could have changed things. You guys could have done it.
The focus of this administration has been evaluating the merits and demerits of the Paris Accord. And it's clear that the demerits, the efficacy, both in environmental outcomes as well as the cost to us from a jobs perspective, was a bad deal for this country. The president has said he's going to put America first in trade. He's going to put America first in national security and border security. He's going to put America first in contracting the reach of Washington, D.C. And he's going to put America first with respect to the environment and the international agreements. And Chuck, I think what's being missed in all this, the president said on Friday, Paris we're getting out of because it represents a bad deal. The targets that were set by the previous administration, 26 to 28% reductions in greenhouse gases.
Those targets.
No, not under the agreement. Not under the agreement.
Yes,
but that's 26 to 28% reduction. No, you're wrong. The 26 to 28% reduction in the agreement, the former administration, all the rules that they enacted, every rule as part of their climate action agenda, still fell 40% short of those targets. And you say they could have been reduced. And in the agreement, there are provisions that say they have to be revisited every 5 years. You know what it also says? They can only be ratcheted up. You know, why did Russia set their targets in a baseline of 1990 so they could keep emitting? Why did India condition their targets on $2.5 trillion of cost?
This was a political decision in this respect.
It was not a political decision. It was a right for this country, Chuck. This was a decision that was right for this country from a jobs perspective, an economy perspective, and environmental perspective.
But this was not wanting to be involved in a multilateral agreement. If the United Nations were running this, would there have been more openness to this deal?
The president said very clearly on Friday that he is open and actually wants to engage in discussion with respect to international agreements on CO2 reduction, but not Paris. Paris represents a bad deal for this country.
Do you believe that CO2 is the primary cause?
CO2 contributes to climate change, much like methane actually is more potent. If you
don't believe that CO2 is the primary cause?
No, I didn't say that. Okay. I said it's a cause.
Primary?
It's a cause of many. It's a cause like methane and water vapor and the rest.
All right, Scott Pruitt, I'm going to leave it there because I know you've got to run.
Thanks, Chuck.
EPA Administrator, appreciate you coming on, sharing your views.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and then click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.